Kanye West launched his token and he just took the money and left. Trump was like the biggest content creator in the world and he just grabbed all the money and left. Steve Aoki joined Fintech. He literally didn't do anything in his group chat. He grabbed all the ETH and left and was like, peace. And that was it.
This material is for informational purposes only and is not intended to provide accounting, legal, or tax advice, or investment recommendations, or an official statement of Presto or its affiliates.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Presto Research Podcast. I'm your host, Min, joined by my colleague, Thomas. And today, we have another special guest, founder of Degen, Jacek. How are you doing today, Jacek?
Hey, guys. I'm doing pretty good. Happy to be here.
So let's get started with the usual question. Can you just tell us a bit background about yourself and how you first got into crypto?
Yeah. So just sort of briefly, I was a database developer for the last 10-ish years or so. I graduated computer science and then I moved to Poland and my mom's Polish. And so that's kind of why I decided to come out here and stay out here. Yeah, I worked at IBM, Credit Suisse, worked at mBank, which is a pretty large bank out here. And then I worked at Hedgehog.app, which was a Y Combinator startup. I always wanted to work at one of those Y Combinator startups, and that was like a really great experience. I learned a lot. The company doesn't exist anymore, but anyway, that's sort of where I learned about crypto. Even though I actually bought crypto back in, I don't know what year it was, but back in college. So I already had some Bitcoin and was like playing with it, and then I completely forgot about Bitcoin for a while, and then I sort of learned about Ethereum and all the things happening there. And so then 2023 December, I was on Farcaster. People that don't know Farcaster, it's a decentralized social media website. And people were just hanging out, and all of a sudden, just in December, people decided to create tokens just randomly. And so people were like launching these tokens by themselves. They weren't doing so well. They weren't well written. And so a lot of them had bugs. A lot of them got drained. And so I decided to create the DIM token for the DIM channel on Farcaster. And that idea just took off. And I rewarded people for posting and engagement and all that kind of stuff. And that's sort of how everything started and then just organically blew up.
Yeah, I know you just gave a brief introduction about Degen, but can you for our audience who might not be so familiar with what Degen is and what it stands for, kind of give a run through about what it is?
Yeah, so Degen started, like I mentioned, on Farcaster. It was for the Farcaster community, specifically for the sort of like the Degen community. And it sort of grew out of that channel, which is sort of like a subreddit on Farcaster. And it grew like across the whole platform. And so everybody was buying it and trading it, and people were coming in and basically they wanted to get on our leaderboard. We had like this points system, and if you gain more points for getting more likes and comments and all this kind of stuff. And so like the tagline was basically like rewarding content creators. Like we came up with that whole idea that now you're kind of seeing like in the space of like, yeah, content creators should be rewarded. That we did that like a year and a half ago. And so like I think even our tagline would have been like earn from content or something along those lines, and that was like on our website. So so we created that whole sort of idea, and the mechanism we used was sort of like this tipping mechanism, which has been used, to be honest, like throughout crypto, just in different forms. Like I remember I used to be on 4chan, and you would have to paste in your wallet address, and then they would like basically give you free tokens, like Litecoin and some other ones. And then later on Reddit, Reddit had like a big Dogecoin bot. And so like this was like not like a phenomenally new concept. The only twist we had was that it was more of an airdrop mechanism. So you didn't have to buy the tokens. We would allocate tokens to you based on your ranking. And then sort of like after that, like Kaido and like other people sort of like, I don't even know what they're doing, but like I assume they're doing something similar. So a lot of people kind of like took this idea that we formulated and then created like their own thing out of it. So that was like super innovative, and people really liked that. Then we created the Degen chain, which is like our own blockchain. Since then, we sort of deprioritized that, and now we're building the app, which is sort of like this new thing. And like I've sort of been trying to figure out what this Degen thing is. Like what are people buying? Like what do people really want? Like what is this business all about? Is Degen more of a tech company? Because we sort of started with this like reward content creator mechanism. that went viral, and then like, is it more of a meme, is it more of like a community type of thing? And so like I've been figuring that out, and I think like finally I've gone to like I formed some kind of conclusions about Degen. And yeah, it's been a journey. It's been kind of crazy, to be honest. We went from like 0 to 1.7 billion market cap in like 4 or 5 months or something. Had all the biggest VCs in the industry buy the token, not like some kind of like lockup mechanism. We were not like a VC token. They just straight up went up into the market. Every time they sent me an email or they pinged me, I was like, nope, you can't buy the token. For me, like for a discount, you can go on the market. And so it was really like insane, because nobody, like everybody else was just not doing that. So we were like a very meme oriented, community oriented token, and we still are, and that's sort of like the overview, I guess.
You know how Degen kind of grew with the rise of the Farcaster and the overall base ecosystem, but then somehow at some point it seems like the Solana has took over in terms of the stage for the meme coins. How has that affected your project?
Yeah, so I haven't really done too much analysis on like where the funds are flowing to and from. Definitely Solana is sort of like the retail chain, and that's sort of like people who want to like trade actively, like the real Degen like crowd. That's where they're hanging out, and it doesn't seem like base is really that place. Solana is older, it's more mature too, so that might be like one of the reasons. Like obviously, like the biggest, like, so Degen, I would sort of categorize it in like the meme coin space and like the social sort of fi space a little bit. But like essentially, I would say the top thing for Degen is like memes, and then community building and stuff like that. And then like of course that ties into social fi and like other things. But like sort of top of mind, my neighbor, by the way, is like doing some renovations, so might do some things. But essentially, yeah, I have some crazy neighbor renovations going on. They're actually building a gym downstairs, so I'll just kind of caveat that. Anyway, yeah, in terms of like the blockchains and like the competition for like all like the retail and like all that kind of stuff that's happening with Solana, yeah, I'm just kind of thinking about like pump.fun. Like obviously that took off, and that was like a really big innovation, or like a really big company and things like that. I don't know. It's kind of like weird, because like all of a sudden you went from having like 5 or 10 different meme coins, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago being launched like every so often, to like thousands and thousands of meme coins being launched like every day essentially. And like all of these meme coins are going to go to zero essentially. It literally is like a pump and dump, like couple hours cycle, or like a week cycle at most. So I think there's definitely are like these two categories of meme coins. It's like the one category which is like sort of like the very, very like PvP, like we're just coming in and we're diving out really quick. And then there's like the multi-cycle sort of like bigger brand names that might stick around, might not, but like I think Degen is a part of that crowd. But definitely with Solana, it's like a weird thing, and I'm not like I don't really know exactly what's going on in like all of the chains. But like for instance, there was just like a big like black hole event that sort of happened with like Trump, with Melania, with now with like the Easy token. And so I feel like a lot of liquidity like from retail was sort of drained through those tokens and has like disappeared. And also with the pump.fun thing, I feel like retail is sort of getting drained through that mechanism. You have like the few sophisticated traders like draining all these other retail people. And like, where does that money eventually flow? Does it flow back into Solana, or are they going to pick like these top whales? Are they going to go and pick like BNB chain or like base chain next? Like, where are they going to put their money? Because at the end of the day, it's the whales that really control these platforms. And I think Richard Chen, which is like one of the bigger VCs out there that I personally really like, used to work at One Confirmation. Now he has his own VC. He put out like an article like just a few weeks ago about how like 95 or like more percent of the volume on pump.fun is driven by like 0.002% of the traders. And the same thing is true for Polymarket, and the same thing is true for like all of these different platforms, that these are not like the typical like Facebook style platforms where you're trying to get like thousands and thousands and millions and whatever users. They're more fighting for like 10, 100,000 whales to like join their platform, and then like everybody else is just kind of like, okay, that's just exit liquidity. So it is like a very interesting and weird space. And obviously Solana still has like the biggest meme coins, and Base is not there yet. And that's the thing about Coinbase too, which is sort of like my opinion, that I don't know if Coinbase is really good at getting retail to join their products. Like they obviously have the Coinbase exchange, and that is like a retail product, but it feels like they're very corporate, like they're very focused on like institutional. It feels like a bank. So it doesn't feel like they know how to build consumer products. And the Coinbase exchange, by the way, personally, I hate it. Like I use it, but like I try to onboard into Coinbase, and it was terrible. Like it took weeks and weeks and weeks and months, and they just wouldn't respond to me. And finally, I went to Kraken, and I set up a Degen account 2-3 days. Same thing with my wife. She was on Coinbase exchange. They shut down her account. They shut down my account because somehow they like figured out that like she used my credit card in some like weird thing. And so like I had like a big account with them, and all of a sudden like it's just shut down, and like there's nobody to talk to. So like I'm not really impressed with Coinbase at all. I'm not really impressed with like their campaign on Base. And I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of really like potential there, and I think that potential will be realized, but I just don't think that they don't have a retail mindset. They have an institutional mindset. They know how to close big deals. They know how to do B2B. It feels like that's where their strength is. But like for retail, for consumer, it just doesn't feel like they know what they're doing. And maybe that changes, and I hope it does. But like for meme coins, that doesn't really bode like too well. And meme coins are like the platform that are going to bring retail in. If you like look at Robinhood, like what coins are they listing? They're not listing Uniswap, or maybe they did, but like I would be super surprised if they did. They're not listing like infra tokens. They're not listing utility tokens, because retail doesn't care about those tokens. They care about meme coins. So they listed Bonk, they listed Pengu, they listed Shiba, like that. Those are the coins that retail actually cares about. And Robinhood being like the biggest consumer app, like trading app out there, I would say, they know that. And that's why they're listing those tokens. So it's an interesting dynamic. And I hope that like with some of these meme coins, like, you know, obviously them being one of them, hopefully we can bring in more of the consumer crowd. I don't think like if consumers are going to join Base, I don't think it's going to be because Coinbase did it. I think it's because somebody builds a sick app, an awesome IP sort of like business, like in the meme coin space, or like what Pengu is doing, and it sort of happens that way. But that's sort of my like personal opinion.
Have you ever thought about moving into a different chain, or is that not a?
Yeah, so Degen is cross-chain. We worked with like Layer 0 and Stargate, and yeah, and so you can get Degen on Solana, and actually it was really great because when we launched on Solana, like the Solana account, like 0x Mert, like everybody basically rallied around us and were like, hey, it's available there. There's a lot of like vampire attacks that are happening on Solana with Degen, so people are creating like just random Degen tokens and trying to like pass them off as like kind of ours, or they put like a different logo. So there is like some demand for a Degen token on Solana, but like we haven't really seen it. We haven't really seen like one-to-one with what Base is doing. So I don't know, like I don't know how to like grab the Solana crowd. That's why I'm like super interested in figuring that out, and potentially, you know, maybe that's a good route to go with. Because I don't think Degen should just be focused on Base. Like it'd be great if there was like a meme coin that's just like a great IP. It's great. It's just a great meme, and it's available to everybody everywhere. But yeah, so we are available on Solana. We're available on ETH mainnet, and we're available on Arbitrum. It just, we haven't really focused on that. And so I guess the idea is like, do we focus on Base? Because there's already a couple of meme coins that are a little bit bigger than us. And so like, do we go out and sort of like beat them first, and then think about of like, okay, how do we expand to like other chains? Yeah, I think that's probably the best strategy right now, is like kind of try to dominate the Base space first, which we're like not doing too well right now. We had like a 95% dip from all-time high. So that's like a really big concern. And like price is like the number one motivator. Like people look at the chart And if the chart isn't speaking to them and it's not an uptrend or like whatever, like head and shoulders pattern or some kind of like, like people painting charts, if it's not like a chart that like some of these guys like, and they're just not going to buy it. And so like, obviously that's something that's like a concern. So we need to figure out with Degen, like how do we address the price issue, even though most people won't talk about price because their lawyers probably tell them not to or something. But we're in a different era, like where, Trump just launched a token and rug pulled like so many, like I don't know how many millions or like billions of dollars. So I don't think that's a concern. I think like people are interested in price going up, and people are like, the token is the product for a lot of these guys. So we have to figure that out. Like, what do we do? Do we build a product? Do we like how do we spread the meme? Because that is like an important thing, and just figuring out the whole like business side of things, because I think we were lost for like a long time, and also I'm figuring things out. So I think we're gonna get there.
It's interesting you brought a point that how meme coin hype is kind of dying down these days, perhaps because a lot of people are kind of focused on extracting money from someone else. But as an early pioneer in meme coins, I think your ideas were not about extracting people out from whatever. So what do you think a meme is really, and also what do you think this sector is going?
Yeah, so I still think that memes are probably the best product we have in crypto in terms of like retail appeal. So I think it's like the one thing that has like probably the most like PMF out of like all the other things that we've sort of built. Obviously Polymarket's great, and like USDC coin is really great, and those things are seeing like a big uptick. So I think we'll see more of these like consumer products. But I think the thing that's been really attracting people to crypto like in recent years has sort of been like these meme coins, and I think that will like continue. I don't think that's going to stop. I think what probably will happen is that we've seen like a lot of like really low effort memes that just sort of went viral, and like Dogecoin was the first one that sort of did that, and then they usually have like their ambassadors or their influencers that sort of push them, and it's sort of been just kind of like this like viral nature of the internet that kind of picks them up, and people kind of go and levitate towards one or the other, or maybe a couple communities. But I think that will sort of start changing, and I think Pengu is really the one sort of leading that charge, where it's not just a meme. Like they took a really great meme and sort of like a really great character, and they're now showing that they're paving the way and be like, no, like this is actually a business model, and you can like form like a huge business, and you can form a team, and you can do marketing, and you can like have products available in like Walmart and in Japan and everywhere. And so I think what we're going to start seeing is that a lot of these team-based meme coins that are really like actively trying to spread their meme and their IP and their basically their presence everywhere, those are the ones that are going to start flipping just like the low effort memes that we've seen in the past. And they have to have like a unique angle, and they have to like somehow fit into like the current times and culture, and it's not like an easy business. But I think that's sort of what we'll start seeing, is that sort of meme coins as a business model, and like more professional style memes, and not just like these like, and there will be like the PvP, like the quick pump and dump memes as well. I don't think that's going away. I think that's going to keep like, it'll stick around. It'll probably not be as big like once the cycle is sort of like now ended. But I think, yeah, and I think what will happen is that eventually like some of that liquidity that went away into like the pump.fun, into the token launchers. Honestly, I think token launchers will probably be like commoditized away, because it's not like a technologically very difficult thing to do. Maybe the communities like on pump.fun, I don't know how loyal the community is to pump.fun. It seems like they're not like super loyal, because they went to bonk.fun and like drained all the liquidity in like a few days, and then all of a sudden they went back. So it doesn't feel like they're like super loyal people that are using that. Like they're not like a community of people that needs to be on pump.fun. Like they'll gravitate towards wherever they feel best. So I don't know, like it feels like token launchers, like under the hood, they're more of like this commodity thing. And that probably you'll see like launch a token button on a lot of different platforms. Like you might see, I don't know if it'll be like in a wallet, maybe on Farcaster, people will build a mini app. They already have like launch of tokens. You'll just see millions of them everywhere. So it won't be like this revolutionary thing where you need to be on pump.fun to launch a token. The only thing that might be there is like the community. So maybe that's the appeal. But yeah, and that's sort of how I see like the meme coin space evolving. You'll still have the token launchers. I think people will get sort of bored of that. They'll move on to the new meta. People that sort of earned and had like profits, they're going to take their profits and they're going to put it somewhere. And I think they're going to put it into like the long-term, like the multi-cycle memes, and then whatever the next meta is, they'll probably jump over to there. Those like the DeFi natives. In terms of like the retail crowd, the retail crowd doesn't care about like going in and out and trading and being a degen like in the typical sense. So I think like the retail crowd is more interested in like, oh, I see this cool thing, I'll read about it, maybe I'll check out the website, my friend told me about it, it's either a cool meme or it's some kind of project that maybe I sort of believe in and has some kind of value. I'll go and buy it, but I'm not going to go and day trade it. Like I'll buy it and then I'll check in on it every so often. Like I don't think retail wants to like actively trade like things all the time. They want to buy and they want to hold. And for buy and hold, I feel like the multi-cycle memes are the best thing for them, because they're not going to be interested in Uniswap, like I said, because it's just too complicated of a product. They don't get it. It's infra, it's backend services. That's stuff that VCs are interested in. So VCs will pump those tokens. Coinbase Ventures will back utility projects on Base and things like that, but not retail. Like retail, I don't think is going to be really interested in that. Yeah.
I guess talking about Degen, we have to talk about Farcaster as well. So just want to hear your general thought on Farcaster. And now, I mean, in base, Zora is kind of a hot topic as well. So is there any thoughts on both Farcaster and Zora?
Yeah. So I think I sent you my like quick caveat that like I'm not a super big fan of Zora, but yeah, Farcaster, obviously like I'm a big fan of Farcaster. I really believe in like the decentralized social like ethos. Obviously, every social platform that's sort of come out, like whether it's Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, they've all sort of had this new format of posting content, which has been unique. So Facebook sort of had their own unique content. But at the end of the day, I also don't think that like a lot of VCs and people that I talk to, like, oh yeah, they completely revolutionized everything. And I think about like Facebook and MySpace, and like, was it like that big of a difference to go from MySpace to Facebook? Yes, the UI was different, but really the network is the power of the social like media, the community that joins it. And for some reason, Facebook had that appeal. Maybe it was like how they launched it, where it was like university by university. Maybe it was the UI. Maybe it was like some magical thing. And everybody has their theory of like why Facebook like just exploded. And the VC types, they always point to utility and like some unique like aspect of that. Like I'm open to that idea. I don't think that that's why social media websites become like super huge. Like I think it's part of like the picture and part of the story, but I feel like the network effect and like the virality and the community, so for some reason they just gravitate towards like, it might be like the launching mechanism, like how you actually start things, and maybe that's the unique thing. I don't know what like the secret sauce is, but I do have like my doubt. Like I think I was reading about TikTok about how they sort of onboarded users to their platform, but it was like a forceful, like millions of dollars spent every day on advertising and marketing. And so it wasn't like this organic viral thing that happened. Maybe it was at the very beginning. Again, I don't know like the whole origin story, but like later on, it was just like pushing it really, really hard. So, and putting it in people's face. So I don't know. In terms of like Farcaster, I think, yes, maybe they need like this unique aspect, which I think is the decentralized aspect, which is the back end is open. And Twitter had this as well, where anyone can build on it. And I think that is kind of unique. I mean, that's super unique, and that is interesting. So maybe that helps build the network out. And I just like that idea. So I'm bullish on Farcaster. I think it's like a great place. And I guess we'll kind of see what happens with that. With Zora, I'm not like super like bullish on Zora, just because again, it's another like pump.fun kind of place. And I don't think creator tokens, I guess maybe if like creator tokens had a different mechanism of like Zora is signing on influencers and creators, and these influencers and creators have an exclusive contract with Zora. They can't go anywhere else. They can't launch a token anywhere else. And also the creators need to give something, like they need to actually give some kind of value. So it can't like either it's a private chat like OnlyFans. Like you're getting like it's like a stupid thing, but you're getting some kind of, you're paying for something, you're getting some kind of value. And so with Zora, I just don't know where that's coming from. Like, what are the creators going to offer? And like every creator is like, oh, I'm going to offer my own thing. I'm going to offer this. But we've seen this like time and time again. We've seen Friend Tech kind of happen, and like like Steve Aoki joined Friend Tech. He literally didn't do anything in his group chat. He grabbed all the ETH and left and was like, peace. And that was it. And so like, no, like they just don't care. Kanye West launched his token, which you could kind of call as like a creator token. And he just took the money and left. Trump was like the biggest content creator in the world. He's obviously a politician, other things also, but he's like a meme and he's a content creator. And he just grabbed all the money and left. So I don't think any of these creators or like any of the bigger ones are like seriously and I think it's also sad because like Kanye could have launched the sickest token of all time. Like if he had done that right, like properly, and he had like a real, I don't know who was advising him, but like if he had like a really solid group of people, he could have been launching NFTs. He could have been launching like a whole like clothing line like around this stuff. He could have had like the biggest token of like all time. So I don't know like why that mentality has persisted with some of these creators. They just see it as like a quick exit. They'll take the money and run. Like this isn't like, so I think there is a place for content creators to actually create tokens. I just don't think they're going to go to Zora. Like we've seen the biggest they're just going to launch it on their own. And I think we will see something. We'll see like a content creator who actually does get behind their brand and they actually do create like their own unique token, their own unique like ecosystem. And I can totally see that, but I think it's going to be like really tailored to like their community. So like I could see like some big like music artist or somebody like, and like giving like backstage tickets, like giving VIP passes to like the top like whole, like someone's holding like $10 million of like Taylor Swift token, and Taylor Swift's like, okay, no problem, you can like sit backstage, you can come and meet me, you can do all these things. Like yes, like people will definitely buy into that, and then they'll buy all the other like NFT stuff and like create like a virtual community, and they'll have like access to like private discords, maybe not with her but with like other high level members of like that community. So like high level, I see like these memes and content creators as like these communities, and they have their own unique communities. And I can totally see them being like in a digital format. I just don't think that format is necessarily Zora, and I also don't think that small time creators are going to be super loyal to their token. I think like again, it's kind of like with the memes. You're going to have like the two different, like you're going to have the multi-cycle memes, like the Doge coins of the world, and hopefully like the Degens of the world that stick around for years. They have a team and they're building things. And then you have like the pump and dump token, the guy in his bedroom who's like essentially creating this meme, and he's creating like 10 different memes a week, and they all go to zero, but like we're all having fun and it's cool. And same thing will be with like content creators. I think you'll have like the cream of the crop. The best content creators will release their own tokens. They'll do it properly. They'll have a team. They're going to have a vision, and they're going to like give back to their community. And it's going to be like a long-term thing. And they're not going to do it through some platform. They're going to do it through their own team. It's not that difficult to launch a token. That's not like a big problem that anybody's solving. I had no experience with Solidity, and I launched a token in like 2 weeks and did all the research. And so like if I can do it, somebody who has like a few $1 billion or like, even a few million can easily pay for somebody to launch a token and do a proper launch. So I don't think the barrier to entry was like ever an issue. It is for like the smaller time people, because they don't want to pay a Solidity dev like a couple $1,000 to launch a token and do design work and all that stuff. But that's exactly why those tokens will go to zero. So yeah, I don't know. I think Zora is like just Friend Tech like dressed up a little bit more. So, and again, it's being pushed by Coinbase. And like I said, I don't think Coinbase is good at consumer products. I don't think they know what they're talking about. So like they really want to win. Like that, you can tell, and I get that. Like I love the hustle, I love the drive, because like they want to have their pumped up fund, they want to have their poly market, and they just don't have it. And so like, okay, Zora is going to be it. And maybe if they like really force it through, maybe I don't know. I have my doubts. Like I don't think Zora is going to be that thing. I think Base will have that thing. I just don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be something that they inorganically push on people and like force it down people's throats. So I think base will have its moment. It's very young chain. Somebody's going to build something sick. And it's going to be like a bottom up movement type of thing, like with pumped out fun and probably like with polymarket and stuff. So yeah, that's my like belief.
So Degen, I heard there's a good news coming up. You guys are launching a new app coming up in September. Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm bullish on Farcaster. So the Degen app is going to be a Farcaster client. I don't think the app is going to be like the main, like I don't think the app is going to be like a growth driver for Degen. I think the growth driver for Degen is going to be like spreading the meme, doing marketing, reaching more retail, figuring out more listings. I think that's the clearest path for Degen right now to like have growth. But I think having our own Degen app, because we started on Farcaster, having our own client, because we onboarded so many people to Farcaster, makes a lot of sense. And the community, like we can build apps, like the app specifically for our community. And I also don't really want to compete with the base app. And I don't really want to compete with the Farcaster app necessarily head on. I want to do something a little bit different, like more community focused, more like Reddit style. But inevitably, yes, we will be like competing with them. But it's just not a great tagline when you have like $150 million raise and $1 billion company that you're competing with, and you're telling people like I'm competing with them. Like people are like, oh, you're out of your mind. But like no, like yes, we will get to that point. Initially out of the gate, I think people are just going to see a cool Farcaster client with its own UI. Eventually, I think it's going to become much more unique, and we're going to gear it probably. I guess this is the part where we have to kind of figure out: do we gear it more towards the crypto natives, or do we gear it more towards retail? And that's like a completely different like ball game, and that's a tough one. Like my instinct is to go with retail, but with retail it's really hard to build because like you have already like Reddit, you already have Facebook, you have like all these things. So it's more about what do we build for our community, and I kind of like compare it to maybe like Angry Birds. Like Angry Birds has like, you know, they obviously started with the game and then they built out the IP. We sort of started off with like, okay, this is a great meme, this is a great sort of like IP kind of thing, and like focus more on that, and then build the product, which is like the games, which is like the apps and like all that other stuff, and like the chain, and sort of following maybe like the path Penguin sort of set, which is like they have a cute penguin, now they're building a game. Now there's whispers of like a big gaming, big Hollywood studio. They're probably gonna release like some kind of like big movie or like an Ice Age style animation. So anyway, I'm super stoked about it. I think it's one piece of like the puzzle of like the ecosystem we're building. I think we still have a lot of issues in terms of like we don't have a cohesive brand. We don't have like this like visual like. I guess we don't have this like mass market appeal just yet. And that's the thing. So now we're working with a big marketing agency. We're going to start pushing like a big marketing campaign starting in the middle of September, starting to do a little bit more content creation, figuring out like where does the hat fit in? Like how do we create proper memes that like attract like a bigger audience, and like basically showing more growth in like the social metrics and showing more growth in like the community, and then kind of pushing that down the funnel into like, okay, we have an app, go check it out. And then figuring out like, what do you actually like in this app? Like, how can we make this decentralized social experience interesting to you? Maybe not replace Twitter, maybe not replace Facebook, because that's like a pretty difficult proposition to like leverage right now. But like, how can we get up the rankings in the App Store? Like, what can we offer you that they're not offering that's interesting and that's part of our community that base app and Farcaster can't replicate? Because we have the hat, we have the community, we have something that they don't, and we also have the token, and figuring out like, okay, well, then what does the community want from us? So that's sort of like, we're trying to build this ecosystem. And so the app will be one part of that.
Just a random question. Have you ever thought about making a character with a purple hat or?
Yeah, that's a big one. Like, do we build a mascot or do we not build do we create a mascot or not? I feel like at this point we shouldn't create a mascot. And like the reason is like, okay, like what I really like about Degen. So like the thing about Degen is that it's so like it's a meme, but it also represents like a crypto like subculture, like even like a crypto like overlying culture, I would say. Like people they like, even builders, they build, but they also do Degen things, and they keep that sort of silent, or they have an alt like account or something that they talk about Degen stuff with. So like everybody sort of in the space is doing a little bit of Degen stuff, or like they're buying some meme coin, or they're buying some CryptoPunk NFT, and they're trying to trade it or sell it or like invest in it. So like I feel like being a Degen is a part of sort of like the crypto culture. So I feel like the name is perfect, and that's probably why it went viral. Like it's just like a perfect ticker, it's a perfect name, and then the hat is like very interesting because there's dog with hat, so that's the other meme coin that's out there that has a hat, but they do it differently. So they have the dog, and he's wearing a different hat in like all the different memes. And so with us, it's like we have one hat, but the person under the hat changes. And so I feel like it's like the possibilities of that are like infinite. Like you can basically take any current news, any pop culture event that's happening, and you can layer the hat in there. And that's the thing we're sort of thinking about, is like, how do we create our own visual language that's very unique to us? And it's also like, for instance, like I always go back to Pengu and stuff like that because I really like what they're doing. And like, for instance, so like a lot of like these mascots and stuff, they're like furry animals, and like Penguin, like Pudgy Penguin has a penguin, and Doge, and like all these dog coins, they have these like cute dogs, and then there's all the cat coins, they have all these cute cats. And so like I feel like they've created their own like subset like world. But Gen, it's so like weird and different. It's almost like counterculture. And so I almost think about like, yeah, those things are really cool for like cartoons and like kids and things like that, and it appeals to the mass audience. But Degen, it's more of like this, I would say like a skater or like an M&M type of brand. It's more like, yes, your mom probably doesn't want you buying a token that stands for like degenerates and Degen. Like she's gonna be like, why are you doing that? But she'll also be like, why are you listening to Eminem? Like back when I was like, like 20 years ago, whenever like Eminem was like hype, and like skateboarding, like, oh, that's like a weird, like those are like people that smoke weed, like you probably shouldn't do that and things like that. But like it became like a huge movement of like everybody knew Eminem. Everybody, like skateboarding became like a huge thing. Vans became a huge company. And that like now skateboarding's in the Olympics and it's like legit. And so like it's more of like this like badass, like weird kind of thing that like just, and it really appeals to like men between like 16 and like 40. And that's like crypto. And so like I feel like that, like, and whereas like some of these like other things, they're more like, oh, this thing more childish, like maybe even women like it a little bit more. So like I get that, and I feel like that's a great place for them to be. But Degen is so unique in its own space, and there's no competition there. It's like nobody has actually created another thing like that. So I feel like we can like run with that, like we can run with that all the way to the top, because it's just so different than everything else, and for some reason it has that viral aspect, and we just need to like tap into that. And once we like figure out the marketing, once we figure out like the visual language, and we're kind of getting there, I really think it's going to be like a Vans type of like style, like product, where it's like very counterculture, very unique, and it's sort of like that like badass feel of like, yeah, I probably shouldn't be doing this, but like it's just cool, and then it just becomes legit after like some amount of time.
Yep, I think we are almost done on the time. So, Thomas, do you have more questions to ask, or can I just end the podcast?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a very interesting thing about how you imagine a new meme coin might flip the market cap of DOGE. What's your idea about that?
Yeah, so again, like Doge really got big, I think, because of like Elon Musk was spearheading it. Obviously, they had a great community on Reddit, and there's the lady who has the Dogecoin McLaren, and like they were hosting like Dogecoin parties, and I think they were called decentralized dance parties. And I really like Dogecoin too. Like at Hedgehog, I was in my footer, I was the data architect and Dogecoin ambassador, because everybody, like the CEO was like, dude, you need to put that in your thing because you've been championing Dogecoin. So, but the thing with like the one thing about like some of this like IP stuff, like Pokemon, which is like the biggest one, and like Donald Duck and like all this kind of stuff, like it does fade over time. It's hard to stay relevant really long. And Dogecoin has stayed relevant for a really long time, and they don't really have like a team around it. And I feel like we will start seeing that these more structured meme businesses that are actually approaching it as a business and are thinking like, okay, how do we market to Instagram? How getting ROI, getting growth, like eventually they'll start capturing more attention. And like the Dogecoin, which I don't know if Elon Musk is going to be championing Dogecoin for the next like 10 years, I think eventually he'll probably start laying low and being like, okay, he's moving on to the next thing. Maybe he'll shock us. Maybe he'll be like, no, I'm a Dogecoin maxi. I'm going to talk about Dogecoin to the end of my life. And if he does and the thing is like, is Elon Musk going to keep being relevant for the next 10 years? Also, probably not. There's going to be a new founder already, like Sam Altman, and like some other guy who comes out and is like this mega genius, and everyone's like, okay, now this is the guy that we rally around. So like, I think his relevance will also fade with time. And so any impact he had on, and so like, who's going to be the next Doge influencer? And they don't have a team thinking about that. And they were sort of like lucky that like Elon picked that up and like that happened. So I feel like that like the businesses who are not just like praying for luck and actually going out and like recruiting whoever the top artist is right now in like electronic music or rap or hip hop or country or whatever, and like actively getting them to like, or like the next like big soccer football player, and getting them to like wear their meme, or like sponsoring NASCAR or F1 or whatever it is. I think those are the memes that are really gonna like just take off and eventually flip Doge. Or if Doge becomes sort of like, I remember Litecoin, everybody's talking about like Litecoin is the silver to Bitcoin. I don't know if that's still true anymore, if people are still talking about that. It feels like that idea is faded. Maybe Dogecoin like ironically becomes like the silver, and it becomes more of like it becomes like sort of like this store of value, and it moves away from like this meme to like, no, it's just a store of value. But like also Dogecoin is producing quite a lot of Dogecoin every day. I don't know if it's like $1 million or $5 million every day that's being essentially printed. And so there is like inflation, and I don't know what the inflation rate exactly is with them, but so it makes the store of value proposition like not that great either. So yeah, I think somebody will flip Doge. Like obviously right now with Degen, we're not at that point where I'm gonna like market this as like realistically flipping Doge. I think Degen's at the point like, let's first take over base and ride the base wave, because I think the base wave will come. I don't think we've seen like the real base wave yet. And so like let's ride that wave. Let's make that happen. And then let's think about like Solana, Ethereum mainnet, meme coins, like what are they doing? And like how do we flip them? And then the last boss is sort of like the Dogecoin boss, which is probably going to be around for like quite a while. I don't think it's going to fade anytime soon, but eventually it will. Like, and I think that's also the theory. And I'm one of these people that I think eventually ETH will probably also flip Bitcoin. But that's like a harder one. I think that's a harder pill to swallow, because Bitcoin actually is a store of value and governments are buying it. And so like it is like the gold of like our era. So that one's like even crazier to me. I think it's less crazy to think that someone will flip Doge. I think it's more crazy to think that someone will flip Bitcoin. But I do think the ETH proposition is so good that I think it's possible that they flip the dominance graph. So those are sort of like my beliefs, and I think you have to have those beliefs, like because otherwise you're just gonna get wrecked on the chart. So like my ETH, I follow Nick. One Confirmation is the only investor that we really have, and he's like a big ETH maxi. He totally like killed me on that. I completely believe in ETH now. I also like, I don't mind Solana, by the way. So like I don't like the wars, but I understand the wars. I understand the wars because like there is limited liquidity, and that liquidity like it swishes between one and the other, and it is like a PvP style game. And same thing with like tokens. Like I love Toshi and I like Brett to some degree, and like some of the other meme tokens on our base, but it is a PvP game for liquidity. And like obviously we want to onboard net new users by marketing and like getting more retail in, but like we also don't want them to fade Degen and sell to USDC and then enter into another coin. So like it is like a bit of competition, but like that's what's fun about it. And like that's sort of like the game we're playing. And for right now, crypto still has like limited liquidity, especially for the alts. Maybe not so much for BTC because now the funds and all that stuff, but that's sort of how it is. And memes have to sort of fight for their place.
Yep, I think that's it for today's podcast. Thank you, Jacek, for sharing your insight, and see you all next week.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.